Hi there, this is a quick setup guide for my Houdini AI agent and MCP server called NodeArchitect. So to start with, you get this folder once you've downloaded it, which has all of the installation files, which we basically just need to copy into the Houdini settings folder. This changes depending on what operating system you're on. For Mac, you can see down here, this is the path to where you need to install this. If you read this README install file, it will show you kind of around here where that folder is for your operating system. So yeah, basically you just copy each of these things, icons, that goes into that folder there, Python panels into the Python panels folder, scripts into scripts, and toolbar into toolbar. And once that's all done, NodeArchitect can be used in Houdini. Okay, so once we're in Houdini, we can launch NodeArchitect. You can either add it as a kind of pop-up window, or in this case, I'm just gonna add it as a pane on the side here. So this is the main screen of NodeArchitect you'll see when you first launch. First thing you'll want to do is to go into settings, where you can set up a provider. So we've got quite a few different options. At the moment I'm using OpenRouter, but we also have GitHub Copilot, which you can use without an API key. So I feel like for most people that if you have a GitHub Copilot key, this is probably, or subscription I should say, this is probably like the best one to go for. Then we've got OpenAI API key. And then next we have the ChatGPT login, which is still kind of in beta. It uses Codex CLI, so you need to install Codex CLI and log in with that for this to work. It basically takes the output from the Codex CLI and puts it into NodeArchitect, so it's not as direct as the other methods and it's not perfect, so it's still being worked on. If that's your only way of using this, it's worth giving it a go. So other than that, we've got Anthropic API key. Claude subscription doesn't work, unfortunately, because of Anthropic's rules. You can use an Anthropic API key. And then we've got custom API key for a different provider, and custom local if you're running a local LLM. Next, we've just got a few appearance settings here, so you can change the font, font size, and the UI scale. Code execution, that's, unless you're kind of just using it as a guide, recommended to keep that on. Allow agent to capture viewport snapshots, that's ideal to keep it on, but it can use more tokens, so if you're low on tokens, you can turn that off. Enable project memory, so NodeArchitect supports, it kind of has its own memory system where it will save its progress into the project. So when it goes back to that project in a different chat session, it knows what it's already done, knows what the project's about, and all that sort of stuff. Because this setting is putting a project file in the directory, you can disable it in case you don't want that to happen. Like if you're working on some sort of pipeline where you can't just have files being placed all over the place. But at some point I could always look into an option to put the project file somewhere else. Then we have automatically compact conversation context once it gets too big, which recommend to leave that on. Then if we go down here, we have MCP servers. So you'll notice NodeArchitect comes with its own MCP server, which basically runs in the background and it orchestrates everything, so it can't be disabled. But you can add other MCP servers here, either Studio or HTTP. And as well as this, NodeArchitect MCP can be exported to other clients. So if you don't want to use the NodeArchitect interface itself, you can instead put this into your client, like Claude Code or anything pretty much, and use NodeArchitect that way instead. Most of the functionality is still there. The main difference is just you won't have the NodeArchitect interface, but this way might work better for you depending on your workflow. Okay, so now NodeArchitect is set up, let's give it a go. So I'm going to do this in plan mode, and I'm just going to go for this example and see what we get. Okay, so the plan has been generated. As you can see, NodeArchitect fetches all the context it can, then generates a plan. So it kind of gives you an outline of the current scene, then the proposed steps. You get some nice graphs and risks, everything, basically all the information you'd need to approve a plan. So we're going to go ahead and approve and execute. And unfortunately I ran out of tokens. I only had 50p left, so I didn't get to finish that prompt, but I just thought I'd show you some examples from before. So this was just a test result where I was just generating a cube to see if it was working. As you can see, you get, kind of a nice rundown of what's happened, like you would with a normal LLM. I mean, depends on which model you choose, but most of them, at least the good ones, give you a nice kind of run like this. So you get a nice table, nice color coordinated items and everything. So yeah, here's a bit of a more complex one. This was just something, was this in ask mode? This may have been ask mode. I just asked for, what's going on in this scene. This was an ocean simulation, so it's just describing objects, materials, everything that's going on. So yeah, thanks for watching this tutorial. Overview by NodeArchitect, that it works really well for you. There's going to be updates in the future, and if you do have any issues, you can always email me. The email is somewhere, so you can send me suggestions, and I'll make any updates if you find something that needs to be improved. So yeah, thanks.